started the class with the question whether we change a life or life changes. There are people who are flexible and tends to change with life, but there are some stubborn ones who just change the life itself. And we have a good example of Sir Syed. He was such man. He had the chance, he could have fled with his family, but he stayed and made the university we are studying in, and he changed his life and changed the life of others. And I say he's still changing the lives of many. Then we talked about how we can learn leadership through literature and how it started at IIM Ahmedabad by Professor Sampat Pal Singh, and later it came to AMU. Here, uh, sir is teaching this subject, and he he was a literature enthusiast in his primes, and that's how we can say that some unexpected, and unrelated things can help us in later periods of life. Then we mm, then we watched a video of Steve Jobs at a graduation ceremony in Stanford. He shared some stories of his life. First one was about connecting the dots. He dropped out from the college at the early stage of his life and joined calligraphy classes, which had no practical use at that time for him. But later, when he designed it into the Mac, the result was a computer with a very beautiful typography. It must have been a hard decision for him dropping out from the college, but because it is impossible to connect the dot at early stages of life looking forward, it is only possible to connect the dots looking backward. Second story was about love and loss. He talked about how he find the thing he loved and how he worked hard to make Apple a multi-billion-dollar company, from which he was later kicked out. He was devastated, but he realized that he still loved the thing he did. So he started over, and in 5 years he built two more companies named Pixar and Next. Pixar made the first ever animated movie Toy Story, and Next was absorbed by Apple itself, and he came back to Apple. The third story was about death. He lived every day of his life thinking that it will be his last, and it helped him taking some big decisions, because in front of fear of death, everything, I think, fell short, like fear of failure, embarrassment, everything. He believed that if you think like that, you can exit the trap of thinking that you could fail. And after facing death for real, he realized that no matter how useful a tool of fear of death is, no one really wants to die. Time is limited, and we should not waste it on living someone else's life. Uh, he said to he said one should follow his heart, cause heart knows what we really want. And he ended his speech saying that stay hungry and stay foolish. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning, sir, and good morning, everybody. The previous class started with sir wanting us to explore our views on life and how to face different challenges that would come in between. Whether we shape life or life shapes us. Sir explored both the ideas, and it seems that of the paths are equally good depending upon the person and the situation that he faces. Sir then shared his experience of combination of literature and management. He used to read for leisure at first, and then that became a particular interest for him. Then he told us about a certain incident that occurred when he visited IIM Ahmedabad in 1992. There was a teacher, Professor Sampatpal Singh, who was primarily a finance teacher, but had interest in literature as well. There he started a course, Leadership, Vision, Meaning and Reality, aimed at learning management through literature. From there, the idea remained with Sir that literature and management could be combined. And finally, in 2015, Sir came through with this particular idea, introducing such a course in our department, enlightening us on how may the dots connect when looking in hindsight. A unique cocktail emerges out of every person, and that is the beauty of life. Then we were shown a speech of Steve Jobs that Steve Jobs gave in the 2005 convocation ceremony at the Stanford University, in which he told about the three main stories of his life. The first one, connecting the dots. He told how he was destined to go to college, but when he got there, he didn't find interest in college and dropped out, and then began only attending the classes which interested him, like calligraphy, and how the decision gave birth to the different fonts that we all see in front of us screens today. The second story was love and loss. Steve Jobs started the thing he loved early on, but was tragically fired because of a man who Jobs himself brought in the company. But as would have it, he started a couple of companies, Next and Pixar. Next would later go on to get acquired by Apple and put Jobs back at the helm of Apple as the CEO of the company. The third and the final story, death. By telling about the time when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, he said that chase what you want and do everything to get it. Remembering that you would die someday, there would be no shame in chasing the dream. He ended up with saying, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." Sir continued on this and said the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man insists on changing it. Therefore, all the progress depends upon the unreasonable man. So, have the foolishness of faith to think that we indeed can change the world, even by just a bit around ourselves. That would be a major contribution uh, of our lives. Sir then told us that it might not be a very viable idea to take that kind of unconventional path, and it would be very unrealistic that we find the job which we love in every aspect. We will have to love what we do. More important, I think, is that we love what we do to truly succeed in our career. We might not see it today, but we should at least have the faith that the dots would finally connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiraz and Tushant. Again, both of you did a good job, and especially Shiraz, the way he reflected on the discussion that we have had after the video was played. So Tushar finished it at that level only. Tushant finished it at that level only. So I wish this discussion part too was incorporated in the presentation. So that's one thing, Tushant. Next, I think you seem to have a good command over language, but there is a problem of flow. So you need to speak more lucidly, more fluently. There are pauses, and those pauses are often filled with fillers, and that is not a smooth communication. So try to work on that fluency part.
Thank you.
And Shiraz, you did a good job. I am impressed by your performance, both in terms of absorbing the content as also presenting it in a lively and pleasant manner. You maintained a very pleasant disposition all through your presentation, and you are using your hands very effectively. So that is a good part. So well done, keep it up. So yesterday we wanted to wanted that you may reflect on this question, that all of us in some ways are masters of our own destinies, isn't it? Often we blame the circumstances for things that we could not do. But actually, it is our own, lack of enough inner desire, I would say, that prevents us from doing things. Often we blame the circumstances, things are not good, and but just think, if the example of Sir Syed that we have discussed, could the situation be worse than that?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, may I just check with the presenters for the next class, because I see one and I don't see the other one. So can I just
Yes,
confirm?
please.
Okay. Shazar, are you there? I see you in the list.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but I don't see Musabbir. So Musabbir, are you there? If you are there, please respond. Musabbir is not there, I guess. So Faraz Malik, can you hear me? I see you on the list. Zubair Hawari?
Yes, madam, present.
Zubair. So Zubair, you and Shazar may present in the next class, the recap of today's
Okay,
class,
ma'am, on
right?
Monday.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So we were talking about the challenges that we all face in life, and I was talking about the challenges of Sir Syed. I mean, can things be more worse than that? Your own community is against you, then you have masters who are not genuinely interested in the welfare of the countrymen, because they come from outside, they have their own vested agenda. Now, in that situation, he waded through the whole effort and could get the support of at least some of his British masters, whose support was crucial for establishment of the university or institution. It was not a university then. And then finally, bit by bit, he could persuade his fellow countrymen also to join his effort. So let me conclude this discussion with a couplet again, which says that जिसको नाकामी समझ लेते हैं कुछ कम हिम्मत, वो तो बस उनके इरादों की थकन होती है. If we desire is strong enough, then we reach our destination. And the destination is something which is not an ideal destination. Actually, the destination, the benchmark keeps improving, because the moment you are about to reach a destination, you find that there is something else that you can do. And that is how life keeps moving. In fact, I recall one obituary which one of an old Algerian wrote. He's an old Algerian of 1940s, Mushtaq Yusufi, and he's my favorite author. So he wrote about one of his friend from AMU, and when he passed away after 40 years of association with him, he wrote his obituary. And in that he recalled when both of them were in UK, and he visited him in his in the hospital, Cromwell Hospital in London. And he said that even on that day he inquired in great detail about an NGO that they were working together with. तो वो उर्दू में उन्होंने लिखी थी ऑबिचुअरी, तो उसमें उन्होंने जुमला लिखा था कि कामरान और कामयाब इंसान वो है जो ऐन तमन्नाओं के बीच में जान देते. And my friend was like that. So, I mean, this is really life, that you live life to the full, to the end. So I wish that for everyone who is present over here. Now let us move on to the next topic which we shall take up, and that is decision making. Because what we are doing actually in the planning, a major part of planning is related to decision making. And what happens in a decision? We choose. For example, you have taken a decision. You have taken a decision to join MBA program in the department. So you must have planned for it. That is why you could take that decision. Now, when do we take a decision? We take a decision in two situations. One, we are faced with a problem, or we are faced with an opportunity. I narrated you about my own life. I was faced with a decision when somebody made a sarcastic comment on me. And I said, now it's my time to take a decision. And I took that hard decision, very, very tough decision of quitting my MA course and going for MBA. A course which I was enjoying thoroughly. So when do we take a decision? When we are faced with a problem or when we are faced with an opportunity?
Sir, in both cases.
In both cases. Is problem an opportunity?
Yes, there is an opportunity in the problem.
So I was at that point of time when that classmate of mine, former classmate of mine, made that sarcastic comment. Was that a problem situation or an opportunity?
You convert that problem into opportunity, actually.
So it depends on the point of view of a person.
Like we are faced with COVID. Now, COVID is a problem or an opportunity?
Sir, opportunity for some and problem for majority.
Although the situation is the same.
If we are adaptable one, then there is no problem we see in any scenario.
Very true. So this is what I want you to appreciate. That actually problem, we may make a technical distinction between a problem and an opportunity. And we may say that problem creates a roadblock. We have a present state and we have a desired state. Isn't it? And the problem creates a roadblock in our reaching to that desired state. And technically, as I said, opportunity provides us an occasion to exceed even beyond that desired state. So we have a present state, actual state, we have a desired state. So technically, problem creates a roadblock in between these two, and opportunity offers a chance to exceed even beyond that desired state. But that's only a technical distinction. You have very rightly commented that it's all in the mind actually. As they say, war is won and lost in the mind of the man. We are actually, every one of us is in a state of war. We are faced with challenges. Now, do we get bogged down by those challenges, or we live up to those challenges and brave them out? It's all within us. इसी 24 घंटे में एक जो हमें सबको मिला है, that's a common resource which all of us are provided with. Some of us are able to lead a country, and some of us are not able to make a square day's meal for us and for our family. So this is something which we need to appreciate, that problems are actually opportunities in disguise. And people who are responsible, in fact, somebody, that is why he made a distinction on this basis only, that responsibility is actually our responsibility. So if we divide responsibility, do a dissection of it, it would be our responsibility. So can we respond to a situation? And that converts a problem into an opportunity. At the same time, life gives us opportunities too. Some of us miss it. And if we miss too many opportunities, then there is a problem for us. Isn't it? So I think this distinction has to be kept in mind, including this aspect, that all of us are blessed with this ability to convert a problem into an opportunity. For example, I learned online teaching. I was a very typical chalk and board kind of teacher. That is how I have spent my 30 years of my teaching career. I would thrive in my physical offline kind of classes. But then this gave me an opportunity to, for example, I have been conducting regular MBA sessions, but conducting training sessions, which I was doing in HRDC center in Academic Staff College that we have in Aligarh, in AMU, where we interact with teachers, many experienced teachers. There it was doubly difficult. But we did a video session also. We pre-recorded the video and we got good response. Now, we would not have been able to do it in a normal kind of situation. COVID provided us that opportunity. Isn't it? So, we have an ability to convert a problem into an opportunity. That's something which I would wish you to appreciate. And about this topic which we are covering, decision making. Now, generally, when we live life, we face two types of decisions. For example, you have taken a decision, 70 of you have taken this decision to attend this class at 8:50 in the morning. That's one type of decision. And you have taken a decision to get into this course, MBA course. Are these two decisions same? I hope you will appreciate that the first decision, that is 50 odd classes will be held for this course, and you decide to attend all of it. That's your routine decision now. But when you decided to go for MBA course, that was not a routine decision. It was, we can call it a non-routine decision, a novel decision, a decision which will be irreversible then. Once, for example, if you have got into MBA, now you may have to pursue this line only. You cannot. So most of the time when we take a novel decision, these novel decisions are irreversible. So there are two types of decisions which we take in life. One, the programmed decisions, and other, the non-programmed decisions. So programmed decisions are routine decisions. And those routine decisions can be taken on the basis of certain rules, established rules or conventions. Organization also makes policies for it. For example, each year university is faced with this issue of admitting students, examining them, holding classes for them. So now for the university, which is in existence for last so many years, these are routine decisions. But which course to open? So for example, the present Vice Chancellor was very insistent from the day one he took over as the charge as Vice Chancellor that we should leverage the strength of the hospital in Aligarh and the management, established management department. And he kept insisting and persuading us, and finally we agreed to have a course on hospital administration. So that's a program, non-program decisions. So this is also, I want you to appreciate that we take two types of decisions, program and non-program. The non-program decisions are often based on intuition, on our hunches. I mean, what we use various terms for a sixth sense. Because this is a novel decision, unique decision, it has not been taken in the past. So we mull over it at our own level and then come up to a decision. There are no set guidelines for that. As opposed to that, routine decisions are, yes, just like that. There is a convention or there is a rule and we follow the rule and we act accordingly. For example, for a company, whether to return the defective items or not, or pay compensation for the defective items, which were, let us say, which got damaged, for example, during transit. There will be a policy, there will be a rule, and the manager who is called upon to take that decision, it would be a routine decision for him because he must have faced that situation a number of times in the past. So these are the two categories of decisions. Now, how do we take those decisions? Again, there are some models which help us understand the process of decision making. For example, let us take into account this decision, very decision which you have taken. Suppose you are faced with this issue of what to do after your graduation. You must have faced this decision. So how do we take that decision? Can you reflect on it, how you might have taken that decision? From the hindsight, can you reflect on that?
So in terms of career growth, many of us have chosen.
So it was an opportunity for you to build your career, yes. But how you actually went about taking that decision?
Sir, there are various spheres into which we should focus, like the personal strength, like the personal spheres, are in which course we are suited best. And then we should also see the market, what's going to be the best for us in the next 10 years.
Okay.
All these collective things should result in decision making related to our future career.
So we take decisions on the basis of our internal assessment, as Usman says. We assess ourselves, we assess our strengths and weaknesses, and based on that, we decide as to which kind of career would be right for us, isn't it? And we also assess the market, isn't it? What is the market for MBAs? Isn't it? Is it good? For example, there was a time when there was no MBA. Then came a glut kind of situation. There were MBAs all over. And in the 80s and 90s, we witnessed a mushrooming of MBA colleges in the country. of all kinds, private, government, and all that. Private especially. So as many as 4,000 management colleges were established in the country. So we take a decision based on our internal assessment, and we make an assessment on the basis of our external assessment. Now, after assessing our strengths and the opportunities available in the market, we develop alternatives. Okay, we finally zero in on this decision that we will do an MBA. Now, this is one part of the process. The second part now gets into it, from where to do the MBA. Again, you have many choices there. Should I do it from a government setup? Should I do it from a private setup? Should I do it in the government setup? Should I do it from a university kind of setup? Or should I do it from a premier management institutions, governmental institutions like IIMs? So you have again a whole range of options. So one model of decision making says that, and we call it the rational model of decision making, that first we assess our strength, we assess the market. Somebody puts it very poetically, we match internal capabilities with external possibilities. That is what we do. Based on that, we crystallize our goals, objectives. We want to make a career. And then we want to do MBA to build that career. Now, from where I will do that MBA, again, you have a whole range of options and you develop all those alternatives. Then you evaluate all those alternatives. कि भाई मैं अगर IIM से करूंगा तो पहले मुझे अपनी इंटरनल कैपेबिलिटी मैंने देख ली है, I can crack the CAT exam, then I can afford it also. तो आपके अपने डिसीजन क्राइटेरिया भी होते हैं, which are based on your internal strengths as also your other circumstances. For example, your ability to pay. So somebody may aspire to do it from Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, but there is no point because it may be too costly for majority of us. Paying 25 lakhs for a year may not be a good idea for many of us. So we develop alternatives. And then we evaluate those alternatives against the decision criteria that we have specified for ourselves. And then, based on that, we make a selection. So the process of decision making in this rational model of decision making, as we call, is we first develop all the alternatives. Then we already have our own decision criteria on which we will evaluate those alternatives. So decision criteria for selecting an MBA program could be the internal worth of the program. So maybe you will carry out assessment on the basis of, let us say, the core strength of the faculty over there, the reputation of the program based on that, and the cost of the program. These are your 3 decision criteria, for example. So you evaluate each of these alternatives on these 3 decision criteria, and then finally you make a assessment of which option is scoring best. And then you select that alternative and then you go for that alternative. This is what is called the decision, the rational model of decision making. Isn't it? But there are challenges. This model has been challenged. That this is not generally how the decisions are taken. Now, those who differ with this view, the decisions are taken in this rational model, They propose some, they call it, let us call them not so rational model of decision making. And one of the model in this regard was suggested by a man called Simon, who proposed a bounded rationality model. What is bounded rationality model? Bounded rationality model says that yes, we all aspire to be rational, but our rationality is bounded. It is bounded by what? It is bounded by our inability to get to know all the possible relevant information. For example, let us continue with this example of MBAs. There are 4,000 odd management colleges in the university, in the country. Can you gather information about all the 4,000 management institutes before taking the rational decision? So our ability to access all the relevant desired information is always limited, and that bounds our rationality. Second, even if we get all the information, आप कह सकते हैं कि भाई आजकल तो इंटरनेट का दौर है, आप हर इंस्टीट्यूशन के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन हासिल कर सकते हैं, तो आप ये क्यों कह रहे हैं कि इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं होगी? चलिए अगर ये मान भी लें थियोरेटिकली कि आपके पास सारी इंफॉर्मेशन है, डू यू हैव द एबिलिटी टू प्रोसेस ऑल दैट इंफॉर्मेशन? जैसे मान लीजिए अगर वहाँ फैकल्टी की स्ट्रेंथ लिखी हुई है नंबर के, भाई कौन कौन फैकल्टी मेंबर्स हमारे यहाँ हैं जुड़े हुए परमानेंट, आप उनका सीवी एसेस कर. So one, we do not have enough information. Second, even if we have information, our capability to process that information into some meaningful results, which can be interpreted, again, that is also limited. And third factor, which I think all of you will appreciate, is even if we have all the information and we have capability to process that information, do we always have enough time and resources to indulge in that kind of information search? Because there is a cost involved. So because of these three things, our lack of information, or our lack of ability to process that information, or lack of enough time and resources to process that information, we don't take ideal decisions, the best decisions. We take optimum decisions. और इसको साइमन ने कहा satisficing, not maximize. We don't maximize, we optimize. And for that, he used the term satisficing. Now, satisficing is a word, if you again bifurcate it, it says an option which gives us sufficient satisfaction, not maximum satisfaction, sufficient satisfaction. So you say कि ठीक है भाई, MBA लीगल का भी अच्छा रेप्यूटेड माना जाता है, यूनिवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स में इसकी रैंकिंग ठीक है, NIRF रैंकिंग भी देखी थी हमने, वो भी ठीक ठाक है. तो हम बहुत ज़्यादा खोजबीन में नहीं पढ़ते, बल्कि ये कहते हैं कि चलो ठीक है, नियरर होम है और सब कर लेते हैं, या एक्सेसिबल है, अफोर्डेबल भी है हमारे लिए, एंड वी टेक दैट डिसीजन. So that is the bounded rationality model of decision making. So that's the first model which has challenged the rational model of decision making. Let us talk about the last model also, which is called the heuristics model of decision making. Now I am coining a strange term, heuristics. What are heuristics? Heuristics are actually thumb rules. I am writing this word, heuristics. What are heuristics? Heuristics are basically thumb rules. What are thumb rules? We all claim to be rational, but are we rational? Always rational? Yes, we resort to shortcuts because we want to simplify decision making. और बहुत से लोगों ने इस तरह के थंब रूल्स पे डिसीजन लिए हैं और वो ठीक ठाक ही रहते हैं, कभी कभी नुकसान भी करते हैं। इसमें क्या होता है, देखिए एक चीज, थंब रूल्स का बेसिस क्या होता है? थंब रूल्स का बेसिस भी पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस होता है। जैसे मैं आपको एक मिसाल दूं, आप डोंट टेक इट अदरवाइज, स्पेशली बॉयज, कि मेरा एक्सपीरियंस ये रहा कि साहब जब लड़का कोई किताब मेरी ले गया मुझसे मांग के तो उसने वापस नहीं की, लेकिन लड़कियों को मैंने ज्यादा जिम्मेदार पाया। तो अब मैं ये एक थंब रूल अपना बना लेता हूं कि बॉयज कैन नॉट बी ट्रस्टेड बट गर्ल्स कैन बी ट्रस्टेड। अब ये थंब रूल सही है कि गलत है?
This is wrong.
ऑब्वियसली गलत है सर।
ऑब्वियसली गलत है। लेकिन क्या हम ऐसे थंब रूल्स नहीं बनाते हैं? अपने दिल पे हाथ रख के इस बात का जवाब दीजिए। क्या हम लोग इस तरह के एक्सपीरियंसेस जब हमें होते हैं और वो एक्सपीरियंस किसी जेंडर पे बेस्ड हो सकते हैं, किसी रिलीजियस ग्रुप पे हो सकते हैं, किसी लिंग्विस्टिक ग्रुप पे हो सकते हैं, इवन रीजन वाइज होते हैं, क्या हम अलीगढ़ में इस तरह के थंब रूल्स नहीं बना लेते हैं कि बिहार के लोग ऐसे होते हैं, आजमगढ़ के लोग ऐसे होते हैं, कश्मीरी ऐसे होते हैं? एग्जैक्टली। देखिए स्टीरियोटाइपिंग ही मैं आपसे लफ्ज जानना चाह रहा था। वी ऑल इंडल्ज इन स्टीरियोटाइपिंग, isn't it? We may agree with it or we may not agree with it, or we may explicitly may not mention it, but deep down we have our own stereotypes.
Sir, but
हर आदमी जो है कहीं ना कहीं एक चश्मा पहने होता है, उससे वो दुनिया को देखता है। और आप इसको पर्सनल सोशल लेवल पे ही ना लीजिए। मेरा एक स्टूडेंट था, ही वेंट टू ए ट्रेनिंग इन जयपुर, और बहुत, मैं नाम नहीं ले रहा उस कंपनी का, बहुत बड़ी कंपनी है अपनी फील्ड में, टॉप 1 है। ही डिड अ गुड जॉब and he was expecting and his boss, immediate boss, had become very friendly with him and had started liking this boy. तो जब इसने उससे पूछा कि सर आपके यहाँ फाइनल प्लेसमेंट का क्या प्रोसेस होता है, तो बाय देन ही हैड बिकम वेरी फ्रेंडली विद हिम। तो उसने बिल्कुल ऑनेस्ट बात उससे कही और कहा कि देखो बेटा ऐसा है, तुम, दिस कंपनी इज नॉट फॉर यू। और फिर उसने बाकायदा एक कास्ट बताई कि हम इस कास्ट के लोगों को रिक्रूट करते हैं, उसमें भी ये गोत्रास देखते हैं, उनको प्रेफरेंस मिलती है यहाँ, तो यू स्टैंड नो चांस। and it's a successful organization. अब आप कहेंगे कि ये तो वन ऑफ केस है साहब, आप इस तरह को इसकी बेसिस पे जनरलाइज नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन जिस तरह से वर्ल्ड इवॉल्व हो रहा है, क्या इस तरह की स्टीरियोटाइपिंग नहीं हो रही है? कुछ थंब रूल्स यस रैशनैलिटी के बेसिस पे भी बनते हैं, आप तो पास डेटा के बेसिस पे बनाते हैं, है ना? और कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि आपको एक्सेप्शंस भी नजर आते हैं, है ना? और मेरे साथ तो खास तौर से ऐसा हुआ है कि अलीगढ़ में जिस ब्रॉड ग्रुप के बारे में मैंने स्टीरियोटाइप्स बनाए, जैसे जब मैं एमए हिस्ट्री कर रहा था तो ग्रुप बढ़ गया, बिहारी और नॉन बिहारी ग्रुप बन गए दो, और आपस में काफी खिंचाव रहता था दोनों ग्रुप्स में। लेकिन जो स्ट्रेंज पार्ट था, दैट इज द आयरनी ऑफ द सिचुएशन, कि जो बिहारी ग्रुप था इट वाज लेड बाय ए पर्सन फ्रॉम लखनऊ, और जो नॉन बिहारी ग्रुप था इट वाज लेड बाय ए पर्सन फ्रॉम दरभंगा, and that friend from Darbhanga is a very close friend of mine even now. So we have our own stereotypes, but we have our exceptions also, isn't it? And that is how, as they say, okay, we don't see things the way they are, we see things the way we are. और ये एक प्रोसेस है मैच्योरिंग का। इससे बहुत नुकसान भी हो सकता है, लेकिन इससे फायदा भी हो सकता है। जैसे अभी किसी ने कहा कि दे शॉर्टन द डिसीजन मेकिंग टाइम, शॉर्टकट्स होते। तो आप इससे एग्री कर सकते हैं, आप इससे डिसएग्री कर सकते हैं, लेकिन कोई आदमी अपने आप को ये नहीं कह सकता कि वो इनसे अलग है या उसके कोई बायसेस प्रेजुडिसेस नहीं है, एंड ही इज बियॉन्ड। और कभी कभी उससे फायदा भी होता है डिसीजन मेकिंग में, जैसे मैंने अर्ज किया कि उससे डिसीजन मेकिंग शॉर्ट हो जाती है। और बहुत से देखिए वक्त के साथ बदलते भी हैं। एक ज़माना था ये कहा जाता था कि गर्ल्स कैन नॉट स्टडी मैथमेटिक्स। आज भी अगर आप इंग्लिश जो हमारा मैथमेटिक्स डिपार्टमेंट है उसमें जाएंगे तो आप देखिए, पता नहीं इसी स्टीरियोटाइप का की वजह थी कि आज शायद वहाँ 2 या 3 लेडी फैकल्टी मेंबर्स हैं सिर्फ पूरे डिपार्टमेंट में, और विच इज आवर प्राइड। जो इंटरनेशनल रैंकिंग है वो हमारे मैथमेटिक्स डिपार्टमेंट की बहुत अच्छी है। उसके बरक्स आप इंग्लिश डिपार्टमेंट में जाएंगे तो वहाँ 60% लेडीज मिलेंगी। तो ऐसा क्यों हुआ? चलिए, मेरे ख्याल से वक्त खत्म हो गया है, तो थोड़ा इसको वाइंड अप करेंगे नेक्स्ट क्लास में। बट दीज वर द कोर आइडियाज विच आई वांटेड टू शेयर विद यू, and maybe Dr. Zareen will share the PPT. We could not run the PPT, but have a look at it, and in the next class we may take another 10 minutes to wind up this topic.